Oh, hey, gorgeous Sarah.
Yay! We made it. We are live.
We are live. We might have had a few glitches, but we did it.
How does it get better than this? Welcome,
Does it?
everybody.
Hi, everyone.
So, we wanted to
So,
just jump on. I'm going to probably speak over you because of our internet's doing dodgy things. But we wanted to jump on and have a conversation about money because it is a pretty hot topic right now in the world. Who doesn't want more of it? And everyone's trying to have some. And I'm not sure about where you are, Miss Eena, but I know in Australia the government is doing lots of interesting things and it's creating a lot of people to kind of look at where they're getting their revenue from. And just the timing of things works out wonderfully that you happen to be co-facilitating a How to Become Money workbook. Yeah. So we thought we'd
yay.
jump on and have a bit of a conversation. So what is the How to Become Money workbook for you?
Well, for me, it is actually this gift that keeps on giving. So, if you use the tools, I've been very sneaky about it. I've used it, I've bought it, I've bought it, I've had it, I've kept it next to my bed, I've kept it under my pillow for, for a while till before I actually picked it up and opened it. But I have to say, like when you were talking about like the times that we seem to find ourselves in, with everything that's going on around the world, I was chatting with a really old friend a few days ago, and she was like, "What's up? What's going on?" And she was asking me like how, like where I live, how's it going, and how's COVID, and she was asking me a bunch of questions around it, and I was like, you know what? It seems like I live in a different world because what's going on for everyone else doesn't seem to be the problems that I'm facing. And I had to look at that, and I would say that How to Become Money workbook has been a huge gift in that, to have that ease to be able to tap into what your reality with money, with creation, with wealth, with building wealth, and with you know business in general is. Um,
Amazing. I love that. Can you expand on that a little bit more about having your own reality when everything else just seems to be mental and yet you are living in you're creating and you're generating something so differently and how the workbook has like factored into this?
well, for one is that point of view about where money is going can show up and what that has to look like. Majority of the people, and including me at times, and initially, has been some like where where you tend to believe that money comes from work, or the only way you can actually generate, create, or have money is through job or work. um, but what's
100%.
what's really interesting is when you actually sort of break through or start melting your points of views about what money has to be, what it has to look like, where you can receive from, where it's okay to receive and where it's not okay to receive, who to receive from, who to absolutely not receive from, and have no point of view about it, and are willing to be it, willing to gift it, and willing to receive it as this sort of flow. It's amazing what can show up. Like for example, we're renovating our home and our office, and
Mm-hmm.
in times of Corona, and we really like this wooden flooring, and even though the flooring that we currently have is like this nice white marble with black granite that we added, and we were looking at maybe having a nice wooden flooring with a nice pattern. Now,
Mm-hmm.
wooden flooring costs a bit, not like the laminate one, but the wooden flooring. And then to have it in a pattern costs a little bit more. And we were looking at, ooh, we've just spent like a bit of money on the renovations. Do we want to like add this to it? And we like, my partner and I looked at it and we said, we'd really like it. So what are the possibilities here? And we left it there and slept over it. And the morning we got a call from one of the people that we actually create and work with in different projects. And he was like, hey, I really want to do the wooden flooring for your office.
What?
Can I send someone to take the measurement?
Oh my gosh. I
That's
love
about
that.
like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of wooden flooring for the
Wow.
space that we, it's a small space, so for the space that we are looking at. So if you don't have a point of view and you have gratitude for whatever, whichever, however it can show up, there are millions, zillion ways that things can show up for you. You
I
know,
love
that
that.
upgrade, that, but it's the choice. We oftentimes like sort of make this wish list, but believing we can't generate it or can't have it. But if you're actually creating it from the space of like, oh, that's really nice, I love to have that, I wonder what it would take.
Mm.
And most of the times that I might have forgotten about it or gone about doing other things, it sort of shows up the most magical, mysterious, miraculous of ways. But you
Completely
have to
on me.
get
I
over
love
your
that
point of
magic.
views a bit. Yeah. And that's just one of the many examples.
Amazing. Amazing. And I have to say for me as well, like that really has been my experience. I've been a part of 2 How to Become Money workbooks now. Definitely don't recommend it, guys. It just changes far too much. You want to stay the same and be completely limited. Um, but if you are willing to change and have things show up completely beyond your wildest imaginations, I mean, that has been my experience this year, I guess. And I love what you've touched on about that non-linear and how when you start to look at what money is, you know, so for me, it really has been like classes showing up that I desired to be a part of that I've been asked to contribute to in some way, shape, or form. And therefore, that's like the exchange of the balance. You know, you go, wow, if you look at it in that sense, you go, this is XYZ money that has come to me. Or someone allowing me to stay in their home for a period of time. It's like, wow, that's however many weeks that I haven't had to pay for rent or accommodation somewhere, or, you know, so it's just like when you start to expand your world as to what money is and what you're allowing yourself to receive as well. I love that this
Yeah.
the How to Become Money workbook and these tools really do just completely 180 your world and allow so much more to show up, and especially from the energetic standpoint, like when you talk about being control as opposed to having control over something, you know, just knowing that in the right time, in its own way, it will show up. That ask that you're saying, like, yeah, I would really love to have this flooring, what
Yeah.
would it take for this? And just putting that ask out there, and then like the universe is like, here you go.
Yeah, that, because like we're not talking about like how we can get as much free stuff as possible, but it really isn't really about free stuff. It's about creating what you want to create. It's about knowing and willingness to ask, like a really cool thing. So How to Become Money workbook is this workbook that Gary sort of channeled through this monk called Rasputin, and he sort of put this whole workbook into motion from where like the other classes sort of started trickling out, like foundation. And one of the things that, I don't know where I was going with that, but it's like nothing else in the world. Like I've kind of looked at other ways of business and money. It's about the willingness to actually pay for the life that you would like to live, but more than that, it's the willingness to have what you would like to have. It's willing to know what is that you would like to have. And one of the things that Gary, the founder of Access Consciousness and co-creator, is, for those who don't know about that, is said that if you don't ask, you won't receive it.
It's
Like
totally.
if you don't ask for it, and I find money is where we make it the most difficult to ask for some reason, or we use it as a limitation to not ask for.
100%. Yeah. It's just such a muscle to build, isn't it? That ability to ask for anything. And that's what I love gets explored in here. And for me, what my experience with this book has been is just finding all of those really like minor points of view that you have that you're not even cognitive of, that are just kind of like running the show. And when you start to get to pick those apart and kind of destroy and uncreate all of those, you're like, wow, you know, that what seemingly might have been a challenge before, like to ask a question. I mean, I only really recently became aware of how much I'd been like coloring in the lines, so to speak, or like living within the box and the framework of what I was given as my life. And so, you know, every opportunity you get to really practice that muscle of asking a question and kind of expanding what you will allow yourself to receive and expanding upon your asks and go, did I just say, you know, I would like this? Well, how about I up that by tenfold, you know, and really allow yourself to like smash that glass ceiling. Like that's really what I so appreciate about this particular tool, the How to Become Money Workbook, because it just like all of those subtle energetics just start to get played with, and all of a sudden your world can just expand so much more than you ever thought it could.
Yep. It is about that, you know. It is about your world expanding to possibilities beyond what you were born in, what you've decided you can or cannot have, what others around you might or might not choose beyond. And it's really going, wow, I can have a way bigger life. And like you said, I find myself too, like right now I'm a bit greedy. I'm right now attending How to Become Money Workbook with Paula P. and Christopher Hughes. It's amazing. It's freaking changing everything. But like the first call was all about it was like this space that we needed to like become present with so that we could create beyond. But it was where all of us on the call and beyond that we were tapping into who function where we were living from that comfort zone of I have enough. You know, we all have sort of created this life of ease in certain ways using the tools. And it's got us this place of like, look around and you say, this is good. I'm comfortable. Like a whole lot of us like had that coming out of our mouths, you know, going, I'm comfortable. This is good. I have enough. But it's that point where, you know, that stagnation sort of starts tapping into, and you're willing to see that, where you're functioning from that space of where you've decided is the most you can have. The fun part for me is to actually figure out and get curious about what's beyond that. Like, you know, so I'm excited to explore this and go. So we're already doing that, and that's like for the month of November, and that's finishing about end of November, and we're starting on 26th November. Sangeeta and I co-facilitating this one.
And I love the time that you've actually got it for, because like this was something that I was
what's next? What else? What more?
Oh, sorry. I think we've had an internet glitch there. But I'm not sure where we got to with that. But yeah, I was just saying like, well, now I've had the train has left the station. Anyway, but just in terms of that, like looking at money based on, you said something about like going beyond the culture, going beyond like what we've grown up with and the limitations and stuff. It's really interesting because I noticed myself when I go, and pre-COVID, I guess, when travel was far greater ease than it currently is, but I found that I would like shrink myself financially, or what I said that I had available to me based on what I projected or expected that others could receive of me. I didn't want to be seen as like the rich white girl or whatever, when I do a lot of developing country travel. And so I love that exploring How to Become Money Workbook has like just completely busted that wide open and been like, for what reason would you shrink yourself? And kind of because I found that what I was doing was bringing that mindset into my life, into my daily life. So I was going, well, I can't create more than this because I don't want to be seen as having X, Y, and Z, or I can only create to what others can receive of me. It's
getting richer.
I mean, it's just fun. Like your whole body, I don't know about you, but like my whole body lights up at the idea now. And it has taken time. It has taken using these tools, and it has taken kind of showing up in these spaces to really kind of explore this and like bust all of those limitations wide open to be like, yeah, like what would it take to have more than I know what to do with, you know? And that's really what I'm excited, especially now, like we were saying at the start, where there's so much on the line for a lot of people. And where they've just decided that my money has to come through this avenue, or I have to exchange my time for money, or I have to work and do this in exchange for money. It's like, how many other ways, like how much broader and wider and more expansive can how we think about generating wealth and riches be?
Yep. And the willingness also to, I can go on and on about this one, but it's also the willingness to go beyond. Like I've actually let go, like, in a time where people are maybe not letting go of their jobs or looking at holding on to it for what will happen, if where's the bread going to come from. But not to sound like, it's not about sounding pretentious, it's about an invitation to a different possibility that's available, because I've been there. And I'm here as well, where I actually given up a couple of things that I was doing because I got that there was more, that me actually moving aside would create more, even though it was a revenue stream. But that allowed me to see 3 other revenue streams that I wasn't looking at, that are like now inviting other 4 more revenue streams that are possible and that I can sense can even create more. So what if it was okay to ask for more and you weren't wrong just for desiring more? And that didn't mean that you were not grateful for what you already have. In fact, being grateful for what you already have is going to allow you to ask for more and create more and have more and be more. And what a gift would that be to the world?
Miss Eena, I am excited for this.
Let's give them the link.
Let's give them the link. You guys know the details for this, so that at least it can become a choice in your world. We have got it. There we go. How to Become Money Workbook with the wonderful Eena and Sangeeta. So it's a really great time. It hits all of our Asian friends, all of our European friends. And if you're a night owl, it hits a lot of the time brackets for Australia. So if you would like to come and play and just have your world expanded exponentially with these amazing women, don't choose it.
Yeah. I have an agenda. My agenda is, what if money could be joyful? And what if being joyful would create more money? That's my agenda. Who's in?
Oh, that's an agenda I can get on board with. I like that. How does it get better? Thank you so much, Miss Eena.
Thank you so much, Sara. And yeah, where can we go?
Yay! See you guys online.
See you guys online. Bye.